Man cannot live by bread alone, and any part of creation that has not been offered up for blessing and transform doesn't nourish the soul. We begin to experience the pain of spiritual starvation. We miss the love of God that we forfeited by making the voluptuous choice, and unless we wake up, we fall even further into delusion, like every addict, seeking more and more of that which can't satisfy us because it's only a reflection. I see in it something I want, but I can't find it because I'm trying to satisfy myself without the source of the life. So there will be no sex ever that's good enough to transform the heart. And yet, an old man and an old woman, and I won't say how old because I'm 62, that's holding one another's hand and feeling the joy and compunction of the window into Christ that comes from having lived together for 20 or 30 or 40 years, forgiven each other, hurt each other, and had the eye fall out and the hair rubbed off. In my view, is far, far more full of eros, of the deepest kind, and agape, and joy. Anything that could stimulate the body apart from the soul. This our culture does not understand. And you won't find it in any movies. You can't even depict it. This gentleman asked me about philotimo. It's closer to that than that's what we see on TV. And about the time we discover it and taste it, we pass out of this life into the arms of Christ. So let me make just a connection with the Philokalia because I think this is important. How much time do I have? 5. All right. In his 3 methods of prayer, Simeon the new theologian instructs beginners to focus your physical gaze together with the whole of your nous upon the center of your belly or your navel. Having made this mind-body unifying intention collected, then search inside yourself for the place of the heart. The foundation is first to be united, to be embodied. Then we begin to be in a position to actually have a real encounter. If I'm disembodied, I'm not going to have a call and response from my real self. St. Gregory of Palamas counsels the same in defending the practice of drawing the mind inside the body as the foundation of prayer in his debates with Barlow. It is necessary, he says, to bring the nous back and enclose it within the body, and particularly within the innermost body, within the body that we call the heart. Encountering the nous in this way, Palamas teaches, the body that is attached to the nous is refashioned by the nous into something more divine. It's also clear that these instructions do not refer to mere navel gazing, as Barlow suggested in his debates with St. Gregory of Palamas, which is literally what he called it. They think they have the soul in the navel. This was a misunderstanding of the Hesychastic Fathers. So, for us who are beginners, the proper foundation is one of sobriety that begins close to the earth without illusions. And this is not easy for a generation glued to iPhones and TVs who find it difficult to go more than a minute or two without craving the stimulation of more information and content. In this way, we're continually drawn into our dhyana, our discursive reasoning, our imagination, and out through our senses in search of the world as an object of stimulation, rather than drawing the nous into the body and creating a space where we can stop and be poised at the altar, lifted up and received back. Lord, let me be loved by you through my spouse, through the apple I eat, through the sand I walk on, through the bird's sound that I hear. Let me be loved by you. It is you, Lord, who are the source of all, in all, and whom I wish to receive. And if I want you, then I will receive my wife as most precious, and the bird as most precious, and everything else. But if I seek anything other than you in the world, I will lose both. St. Gregory Palamas writes, if someone wants to pray when he attends God's church only, and has no concern at all for prayer at home, in the streets, or in the fields, then even when he's present in church, he's not really praying. This helps us realize we do not go to Hagia Koinonia, the Holy Communion of the altar of the Divine Liturgy, without, as St. John Chrysostom says, leaving and going to the Koinonia, the altar of the heart of my neighbor. These are one. We enter through the Eucharistic door. Behold, I approach Christ, my immortal King and God. The door into here. He's into me, I into him. And then when I turn around, I've already walked through the door, and now the least of these, the greatest of these, I stand before, as Thomas did, with only one question. You look like an ordinary group of people. You look like an ordinary man. What is it that moves me from a world where you're an ordinary person that I, through my experience, determine your value, to one in which Thomas says, my Lord and my God. And now, the only proper response to Christ in our midst is this. And between this, with Christ in our midst, is the only way I can encounter you. Because without this, there's no between. There's only my monologue in which I'm dealing with projections onto you. So projection, psychologically, is a failure of repentance, as my friend Jamie Moran coined it very well. Projection is a failure of repentance. We have to have ontological encounter beyond this world, beyond psychology, in order to be transformed. And not only that, we have to have that in order to have an actual relationship. Because without Christ in our midst, I cannot have a true dialogue, dialogos. I can only have a monologos. So finally, let me write, there's two minutes. This is from Father Alexander Schmemann, which I really like. There's no point in converting people to Christ if they do not convert their vision of the world and of life, since Christ becomes merely a symbol for all that we live and want already without Him. In other words, we convert to Christ and I stay the same old person, I just use different words to talk about my greedy, ambitious, hedonistic self. Nothing's changed. And so, Father Ernesto Cardinal will end with the Catholic priest's quote for today, in honor of where we are here. Father Ernesto Cardinal, in one of his poems, captures the essence of everything that we've been talking about today, when he says, humanity is not a meaningless passion, as Sartre says, but a passion whose meaning is God. At the heart of it all, we search for Christ. And the question before us is which one of these we turn out with. If we seek Christ, the world changes forever. If we seek the world, Christ will still be trying to come to us, but we will have difficulties. Because literally, if I only want the creation without the Creator, I'm opening the door to hell.